I had one of my A&Rs as well as one of my publicists to reach out to Polo because I had been saying Polo in the record, and I know Polo spiked in the South because if I did a concert, everybody would be rocking Polo. So I wanted a catalog and be able to order that other people don't got. I don't know who, somebody from Polo sent a response letter and email back. And they told me, no, thank you. We appreciate it if you won't even mention our name again in your songs. And I started wearing Iceberg. And it was over for me with Polo. I buy a few pieces here and there because I know it was nothing personal. It was a bad decision that one of their reps made and they disrespected the king of Polo, but it's cool. I made them some other money and they owed me an apology and they need to send me free Polo, Ralph Lauren, golf, jeans.
When you look at a legacy brand like Polo Ralph Lauren, you're not just looking at clothing, you're looking at a carefully engineered identity. That brand was built on a very specific image, refinement, aspiration, old money aesthetics, and a sense of timeless, controlled luxury. Everything from the Polo player logo to the ad campaigns is designed to communicate stability, class, and a certain level of social polish. So when people ask why a brand like that wouldn't want to be publicly associated with a rapper like Trick Daddy, or more broadly, with certain lanes of rap, it really comes down to brand alignment and risk management. Trick Daddy represents a very different cultural lane. His image is rooted in raw, unfiltered street narratives, stories about survival, hardship, the realities of environments that are often intense and unpredictable. That authenticity is powerful in music because it connects with people on a real level. But from a corporate branding perspective, that same authenticity can be seen as volatile. Brands like Polo operate on what's called controlled perception. Every partnership, every face attached to the brand is expected to reinforce a consistent message. They're not just selling clothes, they're selling a lifestyle that feels aspirational, safe, and widely acceptable across global markets. When a public figure has a reputation tied to controversy, explicit content, or street affiliations, that introduces unpredictability into that controlled image. And unpredictability is something large brands avoid at all costs. It's not necessarily about judging the artist's talent or cultural impact. In fact, hip-hop has had a massive influence on fashion. Polo itself became iconic in urban communities long before the brand fully embraced that audience. But there's a difference between organic adoption and official endorsement. Organic adoption means the culture chooses the brand. Official endorsement means the brand chooses the face of the culture it wants to represent. That's where the separation happens. From a business standpoint, companies like Polo have to think globally. Their customer base includes people from different countries, age groups, and social backgrounds. They have investors, retail partners, and stakeholders who expect the brand to maintain a certain level of neutrality and broad appeal. If they align too closely with a figure who is perceived as controversial or polarizing, they risk alienating segments of that audience. There's also the issue of brand safety in advertising. Major brands invest millions into campaigns, and those campaigns often run across platforms that have strict guidelines. Television networks, luxury magazines, international markets. Associating with someone whose image includes explicit language, legal issues, or aggressive themes can limit where and how those campaigns can run. That directly affects revenue. Another layer to this is longevity. Polo has been around for decades, and their strategy is built on long-term consistency. Trends come and go, artists rise and fall, but the brand wants to remain stable through all of it. So they tend to avoid partnerships that feel tied to a moment or a specific wave, especially if that wave carries any level of controversy. Now here's where it gets interesting. Hip-hop culture has always had a complicated relationship with luxury brands. On one hand, artists have elevated brands like Polo, Gucci, and Louis Vuitton by making them visible in places those brands didn't initially target. On the other hand, those same brands have historically been selective about who they officially embrace. That creates a tension, because the culture might fully support a brand, but the brand doesn't always publicly return that support in the same way. But over time, we've seen a shift. Brands are becoming more open to working with artists, just not all artists. They tend to gravitate toward individuals who can bridge both worlds. Someone who has credibility in the culture, but also presents a level of polish, business awareness, and public image control that aligns with corporate expectations. That's why you'll see certain rappers landing high-end deals while others don't, even if both have influence. So the takeaway here isn't that someone like Trick Daddy lacks value. It's that his brand and Polo's brand operate on completely different frequencies. One is rooted in raw expression and lived experience. The other is built on curated perception and long-term image control. And in business, alignment is everything. If the images don't match, the partnership doesn't happen. Final thought. This really speaks to a bigger lesson, especially for artists and entrepreneurs. Your personal brand matters just as much as your talent. The way you present yourself, the narratives you attach to your name, and how consistent you are with your image all play a role in what opportunities become available to you. Because at the end of the day, companies aren't just investing in what you do, they're investing in what you represent.